All right, y'all. Welcome back to Anime Savants. And this week, I am Kome Kome.
This week, I am Kid Muscle.
Oh, well, who's that? Who's that from?
From Kinnikuman.
Oh, okay.
Ultimate Muscle, yeah.
My shit's from Magical Girl stuff, so no, y'all don't know what that is. But, welcome back. And, what do you want to start with this week?
Well, we can talk about Vanitas if you want to.
Yeah, let's do Vanitas. So, completely wasn't shocked by, like, a lot of the shit that happened. Except for the last part. Except for the last, 3 seconds. I was like, oh, okay. But the majority of it, I was like, okay, so that's why he's so close to her. That's what's going on with this. But the interesting thing is that he's also another, human turned vampire. Not, a child of vampires. So, maybe that has something else to do with it. Nania, or whatever. The charlatan bitch. Interesting, but also I'm ready for people to start fighting again. I'm gonna need something to happen. I don't know why No Way thinks that he can actually do something against the Paladin again this time.
Maybe he's got the power of friendship or something.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
Maybe he's got it, you know?
He is annoying me every episode, and I'm kind of just like, I think the irritating part about it is that Vanitas has talked to him about the way that he acts several times, and he's just still doing shit, just still doing shit. So I would like to see a little bit more self-awareness with the character, but maybe that is meant to happen until something truly fucked up happens, and then he's like, oh well, shit, I gotta change now. So whatever.
No Way sometimes feels like he's from another series. You know,
yeah.
He's from some, I don't know, I won't say shoujo, but from some romance novel. And then there's other times where it's like, oh wait, I'm also a shonen protagonist. And it works, 80% of the time, and the 20% of the time it doesn't. It just gets annoying because you're either you're having deep feelings or you're fighting. And the balance of that sometimes works in the favor of the story, but a lot of times it's like, why weren't you getting ill from the minute shit popped off? Why were you hanging around looking pensive about things?
You could have just everybody.
Right, you could have just punched a motherfucker in the face. This happens. I'd say that so this episode did have some of the things that I talked about last week in terms of you have to get away from the story to tell us the tragic backstory in order to then set up the thing that's happening, which took me out of some parts of it. Not that I didn't like the story that was being told, but the great reveal that Jean-Jacques is the beast. It's not Chloe. I mean, that's interesting, but we had a very small list of suspects. That wasn't very huge
for me.
Yeah, we had a very small list of suspects to begin with. So did it need to get played up for dramatic stakes? No. I don't think so. I think you probably could have just entered with him being the beast, and then we could have dealt with maybe some of the backstory interspersed. Also, to have his the turning point for him was that his dad decided to try to kill him, and then he murked his dad. It's like there's a word for it, but it's I'm gonna call it again, putting a hat on a hat. The dad was already a bad dude, so for him to be the ultimate bad dude to his son is not necessary, but also it's super fucking stupid. What did he think he was gonna do with a gun? You know what I mean? Now it'd be one thing if his dad was one of those knights of the church, and he was super powered and they had a bang out fight, his father had to kill him. Otherwise it just seems like this character committed suicide in order to be the worst person possible for the purpose of the story. So I wasn't really into that as much, even though I knew that they were doing the whole kick the puppy thing with him, because he's he's supposed to be this sympathetic guy, and he's wants to live for his homegirl, and he'll do anything, and he's kind of cute, and they put all that stuff together to make you. I will say,
though, I did enjoy the plot line with the church being corrupt and planting all that shit with the beast and things like that. And I was like, oh, I like this because this is very accurate to all of history.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm actually gonna contrast this episode when we talk about Sabakui Bisco, because in some ways I feel that both the last couple episodes, or maybe really this little arc, and the episode we just got this week, were both attempting to do the same thing. And one succeeded very well, and one was very melodramatic and, like, in my opinion, a little more there's an expression, it's like trying to fit 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. Like, that's what this and the last episode kind of felt like for Vanitas, where they've got a lot of stuff they want to parse out. There's a lot of world building, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of like backstory between characters and relationships and all kinds of fun stuff, but they're shoving it into like 2 to 3 episodes, and I find it odd the stuff they decide to linger on. You know, like 3 episodes ago, we spent like 10 minutes with Jean and Vanitas just in a house looking at each other half naked. And then in the last 2 episodes, we're like, backstory, more flashback, come to the future, people start fighting, more backstory, you know, heartfelt one-on-one communication, then jump to superpowers. Now we see Nania's turned into a girl. I think it's the queen, by the way. And
whoa
I think it is.
Oh,
I think that's
shit,
where we're
I
going.
didn't consider that.
You know, and then the twist at the end, well, the double twist was Jean-Jacques is the beast, not Chloe. Chloe wasn't really as super suicidal as it seemed. It looked like she had a plan all along to trap and destroy, Nania by making it corporeal, which I think is cool. I just wish they'd kind of explained, if they're gonna give us like 10 minutes on the backstory stuff the last couple episodes, why not tell us that this is possible? Because, like, you know, taking something that is immaterial and impossible and making it real by changing the rules of the world is a really good use of the systems that they've talked about, but they didn't explain them. Because they didn't explain them, I'm not sure that it hit me the same way. Like, oh, that was her plan all along, is to like erase this area that she hates, along with killing off the spirit for reasons I don't know. Is it because we're gonna get more backstory? We're gonna find out that maybe like she found out that Ruthven was doing something and like this is her revenge, or maybe this is what killed her family. Like, we're not done with the backstory yet.
I completely agree with like it not hitting. Like it hit. I'm not gonna lie.
It hit.
Like,
it did hit. Yeah.
Oh wow. I was like, damn, bitch, didn't see you going that way. But I don't know. I completely agree. It just. But that's the thing though, we're asking for more backstory for one thing, even though we've been getting all but nothing but backstory for the past 2 episodes.
Yes.
So like,
I think you were right. I mean, the world building things that they did were very good. I like that history of the church and everything else as being like kind of a sort of I guess what I'm saying is it didn't all fit together. The stuff with the individual characters, that's fine, because we see them, we know them, we're going to work with them. The stuff with the actual world itself, so the church and its history, it's not specifically connected to anybody that we're working with except for the Astolfo character, who has no real speaking lines whatsoever. Nothing. To tie. But he just showed up.
It did give them a reason for being there.
Yes, it did.
Like,
but at the same time, I don't know who this character is. Just a crazy person who like is really powerful. So when Noe's like, "Don't worry, Vanitas, I got this," I'm like, "Well, I don't know what you got." This is like, it's like, you know, the difference is go back to the OG.
That's what he gonna get.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we know the Dragon Ball Z formula, right? The Dragon Ball Z formula is you have one main bad guy and maybe a couple of henchmen. The bad guy is the one that only the hero can beat. The henchmen are the ones that start out beating everybody's ass, and then, you know, someone does I'll step up and take care of this after they've been power scaled. And so when the henchmen get beaten by either the hero or the supporting character, it's like there's a feat for that person. I don't know shit about Astolfo, and if No Way whoops his ass, I got questions, because that'll make 2 of these like inquisitor motherfuckers who look real ill and then either got outsmarted or got beaten by like the secondary cast. So I'm not sure I feel that 100%. So they gotta bust out some budget, show me something, because otherwise I'm gonna just watch Demon Slayer and just call it.
That episode's kind of exhausting, but I will go.
There was a lot in it later.
Yeah. I will go into that later.
I did think Chloe was like her little cute face when he's like, "Where's my book?" And she's like, "I don't know. I fucking threw that shit somewhere.
Yeah,
Good luck."
I'm
like,
the one thing that this show has not like chilled on and has kept up is the comedy. Like the way that they just like easily transition into that shit, and like it perfectly works because that matches like the persona. Because if Chloe has like a similar persona to Noe, and I'm already bitching about Noe and just like his regular like demeanor and shit like that. If Chloe has something similar, I'm like, yeah, I can believe you did that shit, girl. Like you don't care. She probably doesn't even probably doesn't even know that the blue vampire exists. Since she was one of the originators.
Or doesn't give a shit. Didn't she say, like, I picked up the book because there was a gem on it, and then I spent 5 minutes trying to get it out, and it didn't come out, so I just threw that shit in the trash.
Perfect. Makes sense to me.
Nice little subversion of expectation. So,
yeah,
so all in all, it's not that I wasn't entertained, it's just that I know that they've got a lot going on, and there probably were better ways. Maybe the reason for this, what are we on, episode 5? So they're trying to like wrap this up in sort of like the first 7 episodes, and then dip into the next arc. Then, because it seems like the machine count and all that other stuff, the politics of this are going to take center stage afterwards, But I don't know if they're gonna rush it, or it's like give some of this shit room to breathe. Something.
They can't spend too much more time on this arc because 2 back-to-back like full background episodes, I'm like, I enjoy it, but that's not what I'm here for.
And they haven't explained the time loop or like.
Oh well, they said that's Homeboy's Malnomen, which
he
also
said that's what it was.
said that he was familiar with. So I'm kind of just like, so if you were familiar with it, then how come when you initially like got into it, it's like, okay, like.
Did you need the book? What are you going after the book for if you're familiar? I don't know, but
I'm not saying this as a slight to the show. I'm just saying they got to pull this shit together because come on now, like
it's
I want to see some
little bit all
shit.
over the place. It's just a little bit all over the place.
Just a little bit. I love Chloe though. Like bring her into the crew.
I think she gotta die, man. She gotta die. If nobody dies in this arc, what are we doing?
Well, they gonna kill probably Homeboy. The actual beast.
He's a little puppy. We got the
better.
Scene with his dad.
Even better. Better. Make niggas hurt.
Kill both of them. How about that?
Oh, I mean,
you can tell I've been watching too much fucking Tamino shit. I'm like, kill them all. Just ice them. Okay.
So I didn't watch Sabe Coolie Bisco this week, but James did. So he's gonna be the main one covering that. And
so
ask questions.
This was a fun episode. In the preview we saw, and they give you a little short clip to introduce it in the previous episode at the end. And so we saw them walking over the what they call the Coal Shell Sea, which is that white area, and they're confronted by a bunch of armed children at that clip. In the episode we learn a little bit more. We learned that this city of children is such because all the parents have been marched away, presumably to work for the governor of Imahama. So they said that it's those are all the guys that we're seeing with the masks on. Like that's those are actually, some of them must be conscripted by the governor, so there's no adults. They can't go
back because they got those parasites inside their ass.
That's right. So that's the reason why the city is empty. The city itself is known for being like fishermen, and so sort of the theme of the Milo and Bisco's time there is spent learning about the pride of that town, but then also helping the kids who are trying to take on the role of adults. And so the kids are well armed, and they explain that because every season these blowfish come through and they will attack anything that's in their way because they're hungry, and so they need the guns to protect them from the creatures, and they also need the weapons to protect them from bandits. And the main character, or the main sort of guest character from the city, is a little boy named Nuts, who is sort of like the de facto protector of the town. He's kind of in charge of all the other kids, and his dad was a fisherman who was killed at some point. I don't know if it was to rust. I don't remember if they said that or he died some other way, but so he's the kid who's in charge. Milo and Bisco, they are as you expect these episodes to start, tired and hungry, and they just want a place to eat, and they can't really negotiate their way into the town. So Bisco, the kids don't trust him. They think that they're there to hurt them. So he's like, look, I have an $800,000 bounty on my head. He has like the wanted poster, and he's like, if you take me in and give me up, you guys will get a ton of money. All I want is some food. So they arrest him, and you can kind of already tell in the beginning that like he could get out anytime he wants. He's just sort of like playing along. Meanwhile, Milo recognizes that the kids are all infected with something, and the kids think that it's rust disease because that's what the soldiers who came and sort of conscripted their parents told them it was. But it actually turns out that it's some other treatable disease called scale arm or whatever it is, but the scale something. And so Milo's able to cure that in the kids relatively simply. Meanwhile, Bisco's locked up in jail, kind of talking to the leader and his subordinate. It turns out the subordinate who's like, the leader's like, oh, I'm tough. I'm in charge. I don't take anything from anyone. Meanwhile, his subordinate is like the soft kid who's like, very, very trusting. And you find out listening. That's right. And you find out that in the past, his life was saved by a mushroom keeper. And so when the other kid goes away, he is determined to basically like help Bisco out and get him out of there. So that's the setup for the Bisco half of the story. Hearing all of this,
it's so well put together. Okay, keep going.
Right. So that's the Bisco half of the story. We also got what's his name? Pawu. We got Pawu. She kind of took up about a third of the episode. As she's tracking them, she runs across another town where her motorcycle pops a tire from some trap from a bandit. So she's forced to stop to repair it. And as she stops, she sees the freshly killed dead corpse of a person lying in the street, and then she looks up, another corpse falls down and hits the ground, and she realizes that there's an elderly couple being attacked by what looks like a smaller version of that crab thing from the couple episodes from an episode back. And so of course, being the warrior of justice, she goes and immediately kills it with, now that I've looked at her weapon, her weapon is just a piece of metal, which is what's hilarious. Like she threw that shit through its head, which is awesome. And so she rescues the elderly couple. They take her in and say, we'll help you fix your bike. And oh, by the way, we'll tell you what's going on or what happened in this town while they drink tea. And so the story of the town is that at some point, they claim a mushroom keeper came in and helped people who are suffering from rusting disease. Sounds like a familiar story. But very soon afterwards, the people that he was treating all dropped dead because he was actually fucking with them. He was an evil mushroom keeper. And so they were the only ones who stayed around after everyone fled the town. And he apparently told them that this was a great experiment, what happened in this town. So of course, Pawu is all fired up. She's like, I knew it. I knew mushroom keepers were evil. They ain't shit. They really are causing the rusting.
And they set this up already based off of what Bisco had already said. Yeah, okay.
So we flip back to the kids, and we find out that that blowfish swarm that normally comes through much later is early, and they don't have any money, so they haven't had a lot of money because obviously they're kids looking after the town, and they don't have enough ammunition to like fight off these these giant creatures that are probably going to start eating them all. And mind you, when I say they don't have enough ammunition, I'm not saying they're just holding guns. They shoot at Bisco and almost hit him in the face when they meet him. And they've got everything. They got LMGs, they've got rifles, shotguns, like they're armed to the teeth, but they can't fend off this horde. So Bisco basically gets a map to the stations on the train, because remember they were trying to follow the train route, and the kind kid actually said, oh, I've got a map of the stations and I've memorized them, and I'm helping you because a mushroom keeper helped me. Bisco takes a map, breaks himself out of jail, and at the last minute saves the kids. And there's a really awesome scene where he's shooting down these blowfish, like they're flying, and they have like horrible mouths, like they have big like bony teeth. It looks like gross. And so he's shooting his bow, hitting them with the mushrooms. They're dropping. The kids are just all, they're in awe because this guy's actually trying to save them. And his sort of stubborn way of not being a nice guy is that he grabs the boy who gave him the map and he's like, I can't actually read the furigana that's on this map, so if you, I will fire one arrow for every station name that you read to me in order, so that I can use the map. And obviously whether he could or couldn't read, this was just sort of his way of like, oh, I'm not helping you. This is a trade, because he has his pride. Yeah. The other kid has his pride. You know what I mean? So it was a whole thing, and he has a cool hero scene where he saves the town. There's a little side story with Milo where because he healed everybody, all the kids think he's their savior, and there's a little girl who has a crush on him, who he like politely turns down and is like, listen, you have she's the one who wanted the cure. And he's like, you have what it takes to become a doctor in the future. And he's like, will I ever see you again? And he's like, you'll meet somebody who will be more important to you than I will be. So he really just,
they're probably watching our asses right now talk. So like,
yeah. So I thought it was how I like to see children treated in these shows. It was great. And so that they leave town, and sort of the kid, the last minute, Nuts throws the harpoon that belonged to his dad to Bisco's like, you're right, you could use this better than me. So he's got a new weapon. So that's fucking awesome. Whoa! Okay. So that's the Bisco side. But we also got to clean up what's going on with Pawu. And as it turns out, she's wandering around this town, and there's like a sub theme visually of amusement parks in the whole episode. So where the kids are living, there's kind of like, it's a rundown, rusted sort of tourist attraction that's based on one of those giant monsters, whatever these things are, these tetsujins that exploded that are everywhere. There's like a giant rusted out tetsujin that's like in the background of, and how they built their town and city around it. Well, where Pawu is, it's clearly like another type of amusement park, more of like a, I don't know, like, Hall of Haunted Mirrors and like dinosaur attractions you can go in. And so she's just wandering around, and she sees the entrance to one of these amusement things, and she walks inside just to check it out, and hears in the back what appears to be a television that's playing something, and she sees people sitting around the TV. So she goes to investigate, only to discover that they're all like propped up dead corpses that are, which is the in the preview, that's the like the horror stuff. And she is like, what the fuck is this? And hears people talking, not the TV in the background, and it's the old man and the old woman who are saying, they're like in like a literal, like, the chopping gallery. They've got the corpses lined up. They've got the skulls everywhere. And they're like, did you give her did you poison the tea? Is she, she'll make a really good ogre
my
marionette.
God.
And of course, Pawu hears this, and she walks in, and they're like, they know the jig is up. So they're like, oh, we got to kill this bitch. And too bad you got poison, right? And because a woman comes at her with a knife, and Pawu drops. So you think, oh wait, did she get poisoned? Because you kind of see her what looks like sipping on the tea. Nah, ho, fucking backhands that shit, grabs a knife. She's like, it was just my rust acting up, and she's about to like beat their asses when they activate one of their whatever they were doing, because they have these what look like corpses lined up, but they got like masks and wires and other shit on them. So she gets attacked by some gas spitting, torture victim.
What the fuck?
Manages to get out as the place explodes, because they were like, we gotta get out of here. But she survives because she's a badass. And so the old man, the old woman are like, looks like you got us. The guy looks at we can't beat this one. He's like, and then they basically, I can't tell if it's that they commit suicide together, or they had stated earlier that the area they're in was like an emergency bunker. So maybe they kind of walked back in and blew up the entrance, because they say something like, well, we could live in this forever for the rest of our lives, doesn't matter. So they're like holding hands, and they blow themselves or blow up the space that they're in. And so Pawu is kind of left like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck was all that? Was anything I was just told true? Were they just trying to get over
about
on me?
The Mushroom Keeper.
We don't know. She doesn't know. So it's a very interesting dichotomy in the episode between they both adventurers. They go to a new place, and they're told about a problem and who the bad guys are and who the good guys are. She is thought of as a good guy, and so she is treated like that by people who she thinks are just kindly old folks, but it turns out they're the evil ones, and it subverts her expectations about them. Meanwhile, in the kids' village, they think that Bisco and Mushroom Keepers in general are criminals for the most part, arrest them, but in the end, they're the saviors, and they leave, and everybody is like happy and taken care of, and everybody learned a lesson. So it was very interesting that they've got that dichotomy in the episode, and properly subverted expectations by leaving breadcrumbs in both ends. Like, I knew that there was something up with that old couple. It was pretty obvious that they were, it was a little too on the nose. And the same way when you see Bisco and Milo with the kids, that it's going to turn out that, like, they're good guys. They're not going to do anything bad to kids, and the kids are not going to be, they may be naive, but yeah, like, they behave, like, the old evil people behave like old evil people. The kids behaved like kids. It was a heartwarming kind of at the end. I would never thought I'd say this. Seeing someone shooting a bunch of giant big-toothed blowfish with mushroom arrows was super cool. And there was even a good, like, non-Sakuga but good animated scene of Pawu kick, like, after she slams her rod into the head of the crab that was attacking the people on the roof. She kicks it from the side and basically, like, sends it flying across the side of the building. And remember when we talked about how the animation style, like, you could look at it and it's kind of paneled. Like, they do a lot with, like, flat things moving on top of flat things. Yeah. They somehow managed to make that work for dramatic action, even though probably if I go back and go frame by frame, it was an incredibly, like, basic-ass shot. But they made that crab fucking zoom across the screen when she kicked it in the face. So it looked great. So all in all, good episode.
Okay.
So was there anything else that you watched this week that's not on our usual list?
I watched something. I know
you watch everything, but
I didn't. I didn't watch everything. No. I actually have I'm trying so hard to decide what the fuck I'm gonna do about Attack on Titan. I have no idea what the fuck I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna record from, like, when the last episode that I saw in part 1, or if I should just watch all this shit and just start recording the episode. All I know is that I watched Demon Slayer and I watched Dress Up Darling. And all I gotta say, man, is, like, Demon Slayer. Oh my God. Someone actually put it perfectly in one of the comments. They were like, it was a great episode, but it was almost exhausting to watch. Like,
a lot, yeah. They did a lot.
There was so much going on, and it wasn't even just like the comprehending what was going on. Like, every fucking frame, I was like, I can't stop. Like, like I gotta like. Nigga, what? Like, even the scene where Tanjiro was just like this, and it was the wreckage, and Gyutaro was just standing over him. The background, I was like, this is insane. This is nuts. They're not even moving, and this is gorgeous. What are you doing? Well, how did y'all? Somebody's probably in the hospital for this.
Yeah, there's like 6 animators who all are suffering from, like, diabetic shock. Yeah, because they've been surviving on, like, biscuits and tea, energy drinks for like 3 weeks straight. Like,
I feel like somebody's in the hospital for this episode. I thought that, the show first of all, these previous episodes these past few weeks have all been great animation-wise. But for them to literally come out of nowhere and be like, bitch, it's not done. Actually, we haven't even shown you the best that we've done. And also, there's a 45-minute episode next week. Like, are you kidding me?
Bruh.
When I think niggas are never going to let that clip die. The clip where Tengen and Gyutaro are fighting for like 3 minutes straight.
Tengen is just... He's just that nigga, man. I don't care what anyone say to me.
You know what? I gotta give it to Tanjiro. Because, I mean, I'm like, nigga, please just stop yelling. Stop getting in the way. Stop doing this. But he did do things. But Tengen, the way that he showed back up and was like, what hand, bitch? Don't need it.
Nope.
Had the blade like this. I was like, what is this nigga do? And someone told me that, like, this is still one of, like, the beginning fights. That, like, shit gets crazier and crazier. And I'm like, what? This is season 2. What do you mean it gets crazier?
The hype level is... It's weird, because, like, this is maybe they've outdone themselves, but I think, in a weird way, people's expectations for the series were already like way, way, way up here, and because they're meeting them and slightly exceeding in a lot of places, I think people are just very spoiled. You know what I mean?
I think that a lot of people are missing the point of the entirety of all of this, and that's entertainment. Like, did you like it, nigga? Okay, then. That's fine then. I think that if people take this and they just compare every fucking other show that comes out that they watch to this, it's gonna be bad. And also, yeah, people might be getting spoiled, but also Ufotable, I mean, they're digging their own grave if they're doing that. But there have been plentiful series where like Ufotable has been like, hey, we worked our asses off on this, so like this series might not be the banger of banging that you thought. Like, I know a lot of people enjoy Fate Zero, but it's not the best thing that Ufotable has done, especially like as an original work. I'm like, like I was expecting, more, but is it still really fucking good? Yes. So I don't know, like, it's weird. I keep seeing discussions about like Big Three this and comparing it to that and da-da-da. I'm like, can't you niggas just enjoy it? Like, can't we just be happy that we got it? Like,
yeah, I think those discussions are interesting, only not because of the content of them, but because of what they say about the people who want to have that discussion. If you go back 10, 15 years ago, you kind of had this situation where there was always a fandom for stuff, for if you put all of, like, anime together, it was very influential. That's why a lot of people today, they consider it a big part of their childhood. But then at the same time, there was this feeling that you needed these like big pillars to be gateways for other casual folks to come into the art form and be excited about it and want to watch or be part of communities. And there was a lot of responsibility put on those series to be everything for everybody. You fast forward to today, I don't know of too much media anywhere that's like that. Even in more established, outlets and genres and everything else, it's very a la carte. Things are much more decentralized.
A la carte is a very good way.
Yeah, and so I think in a way, anime has lagged behind that in the United States. In domestic countries, in Japan and I would say in Asia broadly, Asia Pacific, that's actually always been true. Going back to like the 70s and 80s, there was a big diversification, and the most popular anime was almost never the stuff that like we're talking about as being tentpole things. Big Three is like shonen. It leaves out 95% of the rest of the genre. Yeah. And if you look at
also, the people are getting that. Well, no, you finish that, and then I'll go ahead. I'll go with this.
Yeah, no, but like if you look at even recently, last 10 years, what is at the top of anime TV weekly charts in Japan? The stuff that's actually airing on TV. Romance. It's never One Piece. Well, Kids. I mean, One Piece has gotten close, but it's rarely One Piece. It's rarely any of the things that we call the big three. It's like
it's
Shin-chan.
Pretty Cure.
It can be other things, right? Like Shin-chan, and there's a lot of other like family slice of life that are aimed at either young children or middle class families. Those by far, like we're talking like orders of magnitude have more viewers on a weekly basis than any of the stuff that we talk about. So in a weird way, when people today talk about like, oh, is this going to be the next big three? If you're engaging in that kind of a conversation, it's because you have certain expectations about the way taste is going to get made. But we're already past that. I'd probably argue that there is no in the West. There's no more big threes. There are big franchises.
Yeah.
One Piece is a humongous franchise. Demon Slayer is doing very well as far as like making tons of money. You can look at like the money and say, here's the big three. These are the ones that are selling. But as far as like what motivates a fan base, it's actually the niche stuff. Like I could never get my cousin to get into anime watching anything that's shonen.
Yeah.
But if I show them Gretzko, or I show them literally like stuff that's for her audience, right? Instant sell, easy.
Yeah.
No question about it. So I think that's kind of I think it says more about the people who are having those conversations because they're grounding their understanding of the way anime is working, the way the industry is working, the way popularity in the West, it's become endemic. Like, I would say if you're a 20-year-old, anime was a part of your life from the moment that you were, you know, able to consume media to today. You get all the memes, you get all the tropes. I see people who like I would never put in the fandom showing love all the time. So I think things have broadened out a lot.
Yeah, I think that as far as the big three conversation and like, you know, the next big three, I don't think there are going to be any more big threes. I just think that like if it's something that's happening right now, then it's just going to have its own name. But I completely agree with you as far as like the a la carte stuff. A lot of stuff is a la carte. Like, you know, this is popular. Next. That's popular. Next. There's nothing really like coming through and like dominating the way that the big three did, because the big three were the big three because them bitches were everywhere. Like nonstop, in your face, couldn't get away from them. Merchandise out the ass. Niggas dressing like it at school, wearing them big ass flannel fucking Dragon Ball Z fucking Hawaiian shirts. Like not Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach shirts. Like they used to have them bitches in the mall. Niggas used to buy them and wear them proudly. And nowadays, it's a cute little accented figure thing. So it's kind of just like where we were then and where we are now, it's just not the same as far as like popularity wise. Because so many different people are into the shit now where those like shonen isn't the hyper focus anymore. And leading into that, Dress Up Darling is one of the prime examples right now. And I mean, I'm seeing people annoyed. They're like, oh, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, they're not getting the like recognition they deserve because Dress Up Darling keeps taking the #1 spot. It keeps taking the blah, 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 blah. Have you ever thought that like shit other than shonen can be good? Like not everybody is out here trying to see niggas get their head cut off. Like it's for real. Why do you think Sasaki to Miyano is on that chart in the top 10 every week? Why you think it's on there? Because those people do not give a fuck about action. They care about romance. Like the romance anime fans, they are brolic. They are out here. Like they're out here. They're in the same polls voting for the same shows that y'all are. It's just that, you know, these are the hype ones. Like, you know, you get introduced to these things through Toonami, through Cartoon Network and shit like that. That's how you got introduced. Or you got introduced, you know, your homie in fucking dorm room was watching the shit and you were like, what the hell is this? Or someone posted it on their Instagram story and you were like, what was that fight scene? That's great. There are plenty of other people out there who are hyper obsessing about like, oh my God, I wish I had a boyfriend. I'm going to watch Toradora like for the 20th time. Oh, there's a new romance anime out. Oh, I want to watch Horimiya. Oh my God, this is so realistic. Let me show my homegirls. Oh my God, we love this. Boom. Like, I don't know. It's multifaceted. So yeah, like that stuff deserves its exposure. But at the end of the day, it's about money.
Yeah. And also I would say that some of these studios are getting smarter about what they're making and sort of choosing to elevate. I think there's a lot you can say about Dress Up Darling just as like conceptually or like what it is as far as what it looks like and who it's aimed at and what the audience is and whether its popularity is organic, which I think it is, because like it's not a series. It was popular, but it wasn't one that had a lot of penetration in the US. It wasn't like people were like, oh my God, they're making Dress Up Darling. No, it was just people heard about it, they saw some teasers, it looked very good, the characters were appealing, but it's something I would call like it's vanilla ecchi is what it is.
Yes. Yeah.
It's incredibly vanilla, so there's not like all of like the etchiness is sort of pushed out to the audience because the show itself is designed to elicit a very specific response from different groups of people, and it hits its marks very, very, very solidly. It's like you're watching a dancer in a choreography, like just hitting their marks, the spin, the turn, the drop, the this or that. They're doing it on time, on beat, in rhythm.
Every
but
week.
it's also not too much, because at the core of a show like that, it's just a romance. It's just a vanilla romance with like a genre twist on it that's very meta, right? Because it's anytime you have like shows about making anime, right? The show is about making anime, but what anchors a show are the character relations. Are they relatable? Are they cute? Are they this? This is a show about cosplay and the cosplay community. That instantly gives it a built-in audience.
Yeah.
Like instant people who are not even into anime but are into cosplay. So right away you got that. The character designs, light, breezy, great to look at. The Marin is like designed to make you want to stare at her, and if you're a woman, if you're a man, if you're straight, if you're anything in between that, you know, the spectrums, she's there for you. Gojo is like just enough not like your typical romance novel protagonist or anime protagonist in general, because he's timid but driven. He's not like a simp, but he's also not cucked out either. Like this is a perfectly chosen project. And the fact that it hits shouldn't make anybody upset. It shouldn't make people mad. Even if you want to be tribal about it, it just says to me you don't really understand what's going on. Just like Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is directly designed for a very specific consumer.
Yeah, and I also see a lot of people talk about, and I feel like we've talked about this before on the show, but like, if you don't like it, you just don't have to watch it, y'all. It's really that easy. Like, it doesn't take anything away from your other stuff, because if it did take things away from your favorite show, like especially like Attack on Titan people, I mean, your show wouldn't be airing, but it is. So like, you're fine. It's fine. It's fine. This is what happens when people like define their like personalities and like all that kind of shit based off of like standing on shit. That's just the problem. Like that's just all it is. Like, if all you do is go on the internet all day and you argue with people about an IP that does not care about you beyond your money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but and to give a little bit of air cover, I do think that there are reasons why people might be upset about what is or isn't popular that go a little beyond what is, you know, pure tribalism, because there is an argument to be made that there are a lot of shows that get overlooked. I'm not talking about the big popular ones. I'm talking about
like
productions. Yeah, productions where there's clearly a lot of heart and soul in them, but because they don't necessarily have a built-in audience and everything else, you know, they're lost. And you know the way these productions work, it's like you're always one, you know, missing like one quarter's worth of income away from like, nah, bro, we're out. No season 2, no support, no figures, no merchandise, no anything else. So like, I get that there are people who have like, I would say like genuine concerns about what is produced. Like, for me personally, I think that there's a lot of money that gets left on the table from a lot of series that don't get love because they're just like a little bit too old, or they're just a little bit like too similar to something else.
I can agree with that, but I don't agree with that as far as like the Demon Slayer and the Attack on Titan
something
people like moaning
totally
about that.
Different.
That's
totally
where
different.
I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like,
totally
come on
different.
now.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on that one. I will say I did watch Dress Up Darling, and like this week's episode was like made for everybody.
Man, the titty sweat, the pool of titty sweat in between the titties. I was not ready. But that's the thing though. The show does its ecchi, but it does the ecchi and it moves right the fuck along. Also, the ecchi has a reason. Like, she literally was like out there in the sun in layered fucking maid clothing.
Yes.
Like, so I'm like, listen, it's not that she was just like, I'm a sweaty person all of a sudden and look at this titty sweat. Like, here it is. And like, oh, you know, my panties are wet. It's like, okay, well, no, her panties probably are wet because she has all them layers on and she's sweating underneath. So like, there's it makes sense.
There's this whole, and forgive me for not remembering the name of the term, but like in, specifically in like the Japanese tradition of art and femininity, there's this idea of like not showing and showing. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, the reserved lady, that's the front, but then a pose or a position or, you know, a look or something else like that that's very sexual in nature or is meant to evoke that in the mind. Like putting those two together, combining that, you know, like that's an old tradition. This show pulls off something that I have not seen balanced right almost ever, which is it is overtly sexual in almost every single like scene, every panel. The tension, the sexual tension from every direction, every character is right up in your face, but it is so fucking vanilla. It is the most vanilla thing ever. Like Gojo freaking out about, you know, having to wipe down this very beautiful girl. In any other series, it's because he is lusting after this woman and is now terrified. I mean, and guess what? It's basically the same emotion, but like he's actually just afraid. He's just, I don't know how this is gonna go. And she's like moaning, but it's like, then you look at their dialogue and it's the most vanilla shit ever. Like he's rubbing, like if you took this in another context, he's rubbing her down, she's moaning, she's like, give me the towel, I'll stick it in, whatever. And it's like, what are we watching? What is this? What's really happening here? But they play it so earnestly, so straight. It whitewashes the ecchi.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you want them to be together. You want them to see the feeling, and then they give you the little like train scene at the end where he passes out after calling her beautiful, but then she's like, he only says that about things he really means. And then episode over. So hit all those buttons, but they did it in the most vanilla way possible, which is insane to me.
But
it's crazy. So definitely watch that. Let's see what else are we on board for this week?
I watched Delicious Party Pretty Cure and Fuck You
How's
Totally.
that going?
It's actually good. I can't stand you motherfuckers. They always give the most outlandish seasons that have like the wildest fucking designs, the best production. And also, shout out to them though, because the gay character is gay. He is gay. This nigga did one of his attacks and that leg went up into the air like gay. But then they also gave him like some Sakuga scenes where I was like, wait, this nigga can fight too? So, oh my God. Yeah, it was great. And of course he did the code switching where like he was in front of the king and his voice was deepened, and in the moment he got in front of the little girls, he was up here. So I was like, yeah, this is whoever decided to put that character in, they were like, we gonna do this shit, we gonna do it right. And they're doing it right. So kudos to them. Transformation scene was budgeted like a motherfucker. Great music. Very much so. Enjoyed the music. And they put a lot of like Sakuga foreshadowing in the opening. So I think the girls are gonna get dirty this season. I think we're gonna get like not just like the final episode Sakuga. I think we're gonna get like every 6 to 8 episodes, like shit's gonna pop the fuck off. So, you know, but yeah, I watched it. It was I enjoyed the first episode. It's still pretty clear. It's still targeted towards that audience, but the niggas who are creating it, they basically put the hints out that they were like, oh, we got some shit coming. Get ready. So yeah, that I did watch that. I watched part of the new episode of Ryman's Club. I gotta finish that second episode, but I'm gonna keep watching that shit. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And I usually do not watch sports anime like at all. So we'll see.
Yeah. I also watched Realist Hero and Genius Prince. I like to watch them now. I wait for both to come out and watch them back to back. They're a great like. One is a palate cleanser for the other, and then just when I think one is different, the other goes the other way. I will say this about Realist Hero. I didn't expect when I started watching in season 1 that this was just a love letter to the author's time reading Machiavelli the Prince.
And that's what it's turning into?
That's what it's literally turning into. In fact, we got probably like 7 minutes of direct like recitation of passages from the book. They even animated the book itself and put Machiavelli a depiction of him on the screen. And this was one of the more brutal episodes that I've seen because Soma fucking murked loads of people.
Again?
He went so.
Okay, well, I'm supposed to catch up for next week, anyways. That's my like episode 6.
So this was something that was. Yeah. So in the previous episodes where they were all in Amadonia, there were more than one indications that after the war was over, Soma dealt with the nobility, the leadership, pretty fucking harshly. From imprisoning people to confiscating their land and their money, all the way down to, like, you remember there's a scene where he's talking to the prince. He's like, yeah, we're not giving back the ones who committed war crimes. We're going to try them on our own. You're like, okay, all right, he's justice and all that other fun shit. Whatever. Now we find out what was going on in the home front, because if you remember, this all started in season 1 when there was a civil war that got instigated. So this episode in particular, really 4 and 5, we're really dealing with the aftermath of that civil war, and I think we got a direct quote where Soma says it's been 6 months since he's come to this other world. So episode 5 was pretty much about Duke Carmine, who's the beast man,
because he has the slave collar on now. And
that's right, and his subordinates, and what the fate of all of those people who had been involved in the uprising one, culminating in a trial of the 2 dragonkin who were in the Air Force during that fight that Soma and Licia had. So the opening of the episode is Duke Carmine committing suicide. That Soma gives him a bottle of poison wine to allow him to kill himself, but not before he reveals to the audience that Soma knew that Carmine was actually loyal the whole time. It was part of his plan was to get all the disloyal, corrupt nobles into one place.
Yeah, we knew that.
Right, but that he didn't come up with that plan on his own. And the implication is that the royal family, Licia's parents, or that clan, or some other powerful folks who are in the kingdom, but maybe, like, you know, they have their own designs about how to clean up the kingdom. Yeah. Put him up to it because Carmine's loyalty is to the royal family and to Soma as, you know, a very competent ruler. Yeah. So he decides that he would rather kill himself than confirm to Soma that there's more than meets the eye here. Remember we talked about, like, why is the queen so confident and just letting this shit happen? The king is kind of just like, whatever. They're not dopey dumbasses, okay? Like, some other shit is happening at the moment with them. Okay. So there's a lot of, like, sadness, like, you know, monologues about, like, you know, how can I let you die when you're one of the most competent people here? You know, and then he dropped the bomb, which I was like, oh shit.
Wait, wow. I want to watch this.
Yeah. The bottom line is that Soma killed a lot of people. He also murdered a bunch of, like, high-ranking officials in the government, in his own government, on camera with, like, secret police, while quoting Machiavelli about how you have to show cruelty to your enemies and to your allies. Like, and no one knew he was about to do it. He's dressed in motherfucking black. He tells this other girl that he pardons, like, I'm gonna make you my slave, but your job is to kill me if I ever turn into a tyrant. I'm like, whoa! What? Whoa! Where's this coming from? Whoa! It's cool. He's doing his thing.
Oh my god.
So, that was a short recap of what was going down on Realist Hero. On the Genius Prince side, it's like, you know, this show knows what it wants to give you. A little bit of comedy. This is actually a pretty high action episode. Has all to do with, like, their schemes to get the neighboring archduchy to the leader, the duke, to basically out himself as a rebel, but through manipulation and intimidation. There's some really, really good scenes of Wayne, like, strategizing in public and really just using his words to corner people into doing things, but they use that the way you expect in these type of shows, where the hero being one step ahead is important to the catharsis. It may not always make sense, like, how did you know my plan that was going to be this, but then you did that? But his whole thing is that he bluffs rather than uses a lot of deduction. So this was a good episode to show, actually, in addition to the bluffing, he's also a very deductive mind and is able to, like, do intelligent things and set things up in believable ways. And we were actually introduced to a lot of characters
that he's
prior.
Not trying to get out of. He's actually trying to, like, do the right thing.
Right, because it's in line with what he had to say to Loa, the previous flashback, where he was like, listen, if I can't figure out a way to, like, avoid your scheme entirely, then I will do my best to help you. Right, in my own way. And it lived up. The last 2 episodes actually just lived up to that, where in the beginning you think he's trying to get out of it, and then he's kind of cornered when the son of the Duke comedically kills himself. And then the next episode is him then trying his best to within the constraints of the story to win with like limited resources and needing his adversaries to make mistakes, and he does a good job there. There's another brutal ass scene. Someone gets their arm chopped off again in this episode. Another person gets their throat slowly cut by slowly by the character that we haven't seen do much action, the little like ninja girl who is the guardian of his younger sister. So it seems like each of the members of that royal family have like an attendant who's a fucking badass. Because like Nine Them's out here cutting niggas' heads off with one slice. This ninja girl's out here assassinating people in a mansion like it's nothing, just like eating them alive. He literally says to her, "I'm asking you to do this because it would be easy for you," and it was easy. That shit was motherfucking easy. And it's some decent animation, but it's not a high budget show, and it kind of wraps up the little arc they have with Loa showing up, and we'll see what the next episode holds. But yeah, I like watching them back to back because they're like mirror images of each other, and then like when one goes like dark and Machiavellian and scheming, the other one goes like light and comedic, and then they flip back and forth. So I think that's a really cool dynamic to have.
Maybe I need to start I need to just catch up on both of those then. I'm not doing them on the channel anyways, so
it's just something that's out there. I think, by the way, Sabakui Bisco is my favorite thing to watch every week.
I mean, to be honest, and I will say people are missing out on it, and you already gave an example that is the show this season that is getting eclipsed. Because I feel like if this season did not have those big two, it would have a chance. Even with Dress Up Darling like airing right now, it would have a chance compared to everything else that's airing right now, because it would be the only shonen almost.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Well, not the only, but one of the only ones that's not from like a phone game or
true, yeah,
or like a mixed media project.
That is true. I would agree with that. I wish there were a few more offerings, but I mean, it's hard to say that when you've got both Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan.
And also the rest of the year is pretty fucking packed.
It is pretty packed. I I don't think any of the shows I'm into are like actually mid, but there have been seasons where it's like I don't mind getting into the mid stuff.
Yeah.
Which is good variety. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay. As far as news goes, Eden Zero's getting a second season. That's surprising nobody.
Nope.
Honestly, it's the same shit. It's the same stuff, and I like it. I like it. Okay, like he's doing what he does best, but it's just One Piece. So yeah,
it is. It's like the Cliff Notes of One Piece, just without like the I was gonna say like over the top finishes, but like they do. It's just like I enjoyed watching the last season. I thought the last season was actually pretty fun. I think it's fun. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Which is what I felt about Fairy Tail. I felt like Fairy Tail was like just a fun series. I want to see
the next power up, nigga. What can this new character do? Or when is the next time skip? Because you clearly don't care. Like, just do it. Like, let's just like knock it out. So yeah, it's fun. Like, I really don't ever feel a sense of like, damn, they really about to kill this character off. That's gonna be fucked up. I just feel like, all right, cool. We're gonna go to the next place. I'm gonna see you do some cool shit. Punch him. All right. So great for that. And apparently Fire Force is ending in 2 chapters. I have no idea what's going on. I think I got spoiled.
Fucking fantastic. That's what's going on. Good shit.
I think I got spoiled. I think someone posted something about Soul Resonance, and then I kept scrolling. So I don't know if he brought them together, because I think you mentioned that you definitely did some you mentioned that like where things could go or are possibly going. So as soon as I saw that manga chapter and someone was like Soul Resonance, I was like, oh shit. Well, fuck it. I was like, I got something to look forward to. But yeah,
Fire Force is fucking sick though. I mean, like I like the fact that there's a lot more philosophy in a lot of the big series that are being pushed, manga and anime wise. There's a lot of like interesting philosophy that's being dripped in. It just makes things a teeny bit smarter. This is not like, the fucking Rick and Morty niggas are like, oh, it's the deepest thing ever. Oh my God. It's just a little bit deeper than normal, which means the effort is being put in to make it
also,
cool.
a lot of them niggas that be watching that are be high as fuck when they watch it. So it's like...
yeah. Nobody I'm trying to figure out who is like watching, I don't know, like Demon Slayer, and they're like, I'm looking for depth. You know what I mean?
I'm looking for niggas that get sliced up and pretty. Like... Also, anyways, yeah, that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, what else? Wait, I think those are the only two things I got for news. Something else was supposed to happen.
I think the Jujutsu Kaisen film going fucking berserk over in Japan is worth mentioning, which still upsets me because what do I want to see? I want to see the movie here. So just
wait, we have an announcement coming soon, don't we? They said they're announcing something.
Nigga, just put it on streaming right now. What are we fucking waiting for?
I'm telling you, all they gotta do is basically be like, you can do a one-time stream for $20, and I'll be like, great, give it to me.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I'll do it.
I'm cool.
Whatever.
We can do
watch
this
it in my comfort of my home, okay? Because I don't want to get an $8 icy because I have to have one. So it's kind of just like, I don't want to go out and spend that money, but like, just let me do it here. Yeah. I would hope. No, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna try to get the theater money because all these like mask mandates are about to start going away.
Oh, I didn't mention. I did watch Ari Ferretta up to whatever the latest.
Oh, I'm current on. Oh yeah, I am also. Okay. I just want to see him wash niggas. Like it's so satisfying when the way that he embarrassed that demon nigga and basically was just like, you would have died if you had not ambushed me. Like your ass. Like you suck. You suck. I loved it, but I also like how Hajime can still get fucked up. Like he can still get fucked up. And I also like the little political things that are going on in the background with the church and like the church. It has like something or someone has corrupted the church and that's influencing the crown. And it seems as though they're hinting that it's the actual God, which I wouldn't be surprised about because that's what the revolutionaries warned Hajime about anyways. And I also thought that it was interesting that like the demon guy got the power but was still like spouting about like the God and shit like that. And I was like, but didn't the revolutionary tell you like the real story? And then Hajime goes in and it's literally like, take the power, nigga, that's it. Like no explanation, no nothing. So I'm like, oh. So
there's the thing about Ari Ferretta, which pushed me off of it when I first was watching it, which is I knew that it was gonna become like a harem first kind of series, but the other parts of the show were not all the way there for me at the time. I didn't see much in the world building beyond the concept of going to these like different mazes and figuring stuff out. That was very like Magi to me, but I actually think Ari Ferretta predates Magi if I recall.
I think it does. Yeah.
I think because it's older. Then like as they started adding to the cast, like I initially wasn't feeling a lot of the characters that were there, and now that you kind of have the main group put together, I already know that like some of them will always feel like filler to me, like the other classmate, the heel, like I don't give a shit about her. Like, fuck her. Why is she getting possessive? Like we were doing real good in that squad without her energy. Didn't need that. Yeah. At all. But I will say that like the thing that was always interesting, even when I was reading the manga version, was that it was cool to see what sort of modern device he would come up with, what cool sort of power he would just pull out of thin air, because everything in the series is like ass pull after ass pull after
well
ass
that's the
pull
one thing that I
pull.
did like, how she called him out in the car and she's like, you're literally just making shit out of animes.
Yes, that was good. Yeah, I was like, thank you.
Yes, and I'm enjoying it. Keep doing
Someone had to say that shit.
Yeah. I was like, be self-aware, please. But she was right. I was like, nigga, yeah, you have literally like funnels. You have Gundam fucking bits following you around.
But the thing I was really concerned about was, where's the power scaling gonna go if essentially everything is building up to him flexing on some dude with like a giant gun. That's what it comes down to. That's why you're watching his part of the series, or you're there for the harem. So I'm not there for the harem, but him pulling out big ass guns and flexing on dudes, I think that's pretty cool. I appreciate the little bit of like pulling back the power scaling a bit on him, on the main character, to create some stakes, because he did kind of get his ass whipped, for a couple episodes. So like, I like to see that. I like to see them losing and then have to figure out how to win. So it's light, it's easy for me to watch. I don't put too much heart in it. When the little girl was calling that dude Papa, and then the mother mermaid was like, "Hey, you could be your dad, all right." I was like, God damn.
That kind of caught me off guard. I was like, "Yo, what's up? What's going on?" Like, okay. Bruh. And then they were like, "Oh," she was like, "You might as well stay here at the house with me since you already Papa." Like, damn.
That was the only like positive in the beginning, is that he fucked that first chick, the vampire girl. Like that. So
they did fuck. Okay, yes. That was my question. I was like,
100%. Yeah, I was like, yes, they did, and I appreciated that. Cause I already got Dress Up Darling for the vanilla shit. All right, I'm good on that. If you got all these women dedicated to your ball sack, I need to know. I don't need to see it. I'm good. I don't need to see shit. But I need to know.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I just don't want this nigga to be playing now. Like, oh, I'm suddenly embarrassed. Like, no, you're running through every one of them. Just do it. Just fucking do it.
That was actually one of my like questions while watching the episode. I was like, wait, did they just on top of the boat? Okay. Now I don't want an awkward situation to come up between he and
I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that energy.
None of that. Oh, my virginity. Well, he's already fucking other people, girl. So
that's the wild thing, is that they love to set up these like harem situations, and then they act like they've never heard of polyam. Like, it's just like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. It's like, fuck out of here. This is a polycule. This is what they're doing. Like, just lean into it. What are we fooling around here for? I mean,
all I'm waiting for now is like a demon girl. Just get a demon girl.
That'll come.
Drop her in there, and like,
I want to see him get revenge on that demon first. I want him to own that man.
I kind of want him to go back to the fucking kingdom for some reason, and basically be like, "Oh, I'm a heretic now. Let me show you heretic."
Oh, I'll show you something.
Yeah, let me show you heretic.
That's why I like these anti-hero like OP isekai guys, because like they're like every cringe nerd from school who's like, you picked on me, now I have ultimate power, but like in a duster.
But also it's like valid revenge in most of his cases, where he was just like, he wasn't really even fucking with anybody.
Yeah,
like he really don't be fucking with people. He literally is just like, yo, I'm just trying to go home.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of revenge stories with anti-heroes. I just need the setup to be exciting. That's all I really need. Like, sometimes I go too far. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Shield Hero, just because, like, if you're gonna make the main character a degenerate, you kind of got to give me something to latch onto, so I don't feel like this is every school shooter's manifesto playing out in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, Code Geass did this the right way by like having a bunch of very pretty posing, men and giant robots to cover up the fact that Lelouch is just a humongous edgelord. You know what I mean? Like, they did it right. Because I have something to pay attention to. Because if I think about any of these things too hard, these are the last people I want to root for. You know what I mean? So Arifureta kind of wove a line where it like was doing what I was interested in. Then it like turned to shit, and I got very worried. And then it kind of like looped back around to being like on the right level. So I'm cool with it now. But I had a lot of questions initially.
I usually don't have questions for harem shows because expectations are already like, I'm just like, whatever. I need to watch Domestic Girlfriend just to like, reset my expectations on like,
bro, Domestic Girlfriend is on another plane of existence.
And that's what I need. I need something that's kind of just like...
We in 2022, Domestic Girlfriend is in like 2052.
Oh, God. Okay.
They've exited orbit. God. Yo, I don't want to spoil anything. It's just so fucking ridiculous. Like, they get a lot of mileage out of like 2 taboo relationship situations that on their face don't make any sense, but like they're also more adult about things and mature than I would ever expect from a show with the premise that it has. And when you know how it ends, it makes that aspect of it even more ridiculous. It's sort of like, you ever watch,
over, right?
Yeah, it's. I mean, the manga's done.
Yeah, the manga's done. They're not gonna do nothing with the show.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how you watch like soap, like OG soap operas, and there's like memes in soap operas like, oh I thought I was screwing my husband, but it was really his twin brother who took his place because he's comatose in a car accident, and I didn't know because he's lost his memory and he's in some remote hospital in Colorado. Like, I said all that, it is fucking ridiculous, but if you watch soap
Young
operas,
and the Restless,
if you watch enough soap operas, all that stuff is so normal to you. You're like, okay, and so what's the part where the husband comes back but he doesn't remember his last name and he runs into his wife at the bar, in the only bar in town that everything takes place in.
While he lost his memory, he got somebody pregnant, so now
he had another relationship, but then he starts to remember, then his brother shows up and he's like, you're like, fast forward to the things that I'm very aware of, and they give it to you over and over. Domestic Girlfriend basically takes every one of those like soap opera type story conceits, but then makes everybody in the series the most credulous person you have ever run into. Whereas like those people who are on the soap opera, they know they're hamming it up. They know that it's just the same actor with an eye patch. It's silly. Yeah. And them trying to act serious makes it more funny or more like telenovela, right? Like they're trying to take it, you are my what? And they overact, but the emotion is real. In Domestic Girlfriend, it's like, I just fucked this girl. She was cool with it. Okay. Now I go home. Oh, it's my new sister. It's my new sister-in-law. Because my dad just got married. Oh. But then I'm also fucking my teacher. And it's like it's played so straight that when they have like normal scenes of like, I'm just going to go on a date with this girl, with one of the women who are involved, they just go on a fucking date. It's just straight up. Like, there's like, oh, somebody might see them, but it's not like taken to an 11. But then you look at the subject matter, and again, I'm not going to give away the plot points, but there's some pretty extreme things that happen with 2 of the characters that would belong in any soap opera that you've ever seen, and everyone is just like down the middle, not deadpan, but like, I don't know, it's fucking weird. I don't know how they did it. They're in another century. They've you know what I mean? They've achieved escape velocity. They know what they're doing is ridiculous, and they're just not copping to it. They're not owning it.
Okay. So yeah, I need to watch it.
It's like if Idris Elba voiced Goku. You know, like he just voiced Goku like he does his like what was that cop show he did in Britain?
Like he's gonna voice Knuckles.
Right? Yeah. It's like, yes. In fact, you hit it's Idris Elba voicing Knuckles. That's what it is. Like and I love Idris Elba, and I think it's a fine choice. I have no problem with it. But like, Idris Elba is gonna play Knuckles straight.
Wait. Yeah, exactly. That interview where he was like, I'm trying to like find like the character.
Bro, it's a talking cartoon echidna.
It's fucking Knuckles.
That doesn't even look like an echidna. It's, you know what I mean? Like nigga, you're Knuckles. You're motherfucking Knuckles. What are we fucking around for? You were playing Knuckles. This nigga has spikes on his fist. He walks on the wall.
All you gotta worry about is when Rouge pop up and then they get horny. That's it.
Bro, they need to chill. If they bring in Rouge, I'm called foul right away. I'm calling foul right away.
The furries are going.
Bro, I'm checking all the way the fuck off Twitter if there's like a teaser at the end.
And you know what? More and more Sonic Twitter is finding its way onto my fucking timeline.
I've been telling you, I don't know who I followed. How. I have no idea how this is all over my feed.
These profile pictures alone, I'm like, what is this?
I'm trying to sanitize my feed. These niggas keep showing up over and over again.
There is someone though, I think it was someone that I recently followed. They're doing like a DBZ abridged kind of thing, but they're doing it with Sonic Adventure 2. And I saw like a clip, and I was like, "This shit's kind of funny." We need to. I'm telling you though, if Rouge the Bat fucking shows up at the end of that Knuckles movie, and you got fucking Dr. Robotnik, maybe he got toasted or something. He sees her, and they're doing too well for them to not continue. Shadow's on his way. And Rouge
fucking what an edgelord that character was.
Now that's a fucking edgelord. That is like,
oh my god, I'm Sonic but emotional, and I have a gun. The fuck out of here.
Oh wait, he does have a gun.
He had a pistol. I'm telling you, these are just school shooter manifestos. This nigga drawn Sonic in his little notebook next to all the names of the kids who like poured milk on him and shit. He sees Shadow's got a gun. He goes gets a Tech 9. Like that's it. This is it.
I mean, I just really like that. Like Shadow had like hover shoes. Like I was like, yo, this shit though, that nigga so hard. And then
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying if you enjoy it and your circles they get into it. I'm not crapping on the content. I'm crapping on the content of people's characters. Okay. It's Black History Month, y'all. We need to look.
What are they doing to them?
We need to look inside of ourselves and see, you know, the twisted parts, and then eliminate them from our lives. And I'm just telling you that Rouge the Bat showing up in any fucking Sonic movie is not going to create any good on this world. It's just not going to do it. I'm sorry. It's only going to create misery. My misery if I have to look at my fucking timeline.
Oh, wow. They're gonna... Well, now that I said it, I feel like it's only a matter of time until it actually fucking appears.
Duh.
But yeah. What did I watch this week that was new? Go watch Delicious Party Pedicure. I mean, like, you can like, what you don't even have to watch the full first episode. Just watch her transform and do the first fight. She beat the shit out that thing. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It wasn't as good as Princess Pedicure, but it was good. It was good.
Where does it sit in the hierarchy of pedicures?
It's all right now. It's like 7 out of 18, 20.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of up there.
Oh yeah, it's kind of up there because like I've been watching for a minute, and some of them previous seasons it's kind of just like you girls. I feel so sorry, but you can stay over there. But this one, it's already starting off very well, character wise. Music. Well, I already went into this. Just watch it, y'all. Just watch it. Or you can go to Sakugaboru and you can see it in there.
Yeah, you can do that.
There's one part of okay, here I go. There's one part of her transformation where it's literally like a rotoscope camera like coming up behind her, and she does like a turnaround like move, and I'm like, whoever animated that, they had a fun, and it looks good. Okay, yeah. Anyway, that part is on Sakugaboru because I went and found it. It's on there, so you can go find it too. But if you don't want to watch the whole episode or see the guy be like extra gay or whatever, just go there. You know, it's okay. But
I mean, we appreciate people acting extra gay. We're all about that. But
I mean, and they follow the fuck through. Okay, see, I'm about to repeat the whole damn thing from earlier. So yeah, let me look.
Yeah, I don't really have much of a special recommendation. I know that I've read a few more early print.
Manhwa?
Yeah, a few more. Ones that are sort of, I try to avoid when I kind of did the big run through. I tried to avoid series that were very new, so stuff that had basically started in the last year.
So you let some stuff cook for a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't know if I have a specific recommendation. I did want to say that having gone back and looked at those and a couple of new ones I read, Golem Factory, which is just a production company that does a lot of the, they have a fair number of releases that are out there. They're really good. I think that whatever they're choosing to adapt, a lot of them are originally web novels. They bring the same level of quality to their productions, but they don't all look the same, if that makes any sense. Like I read enough manhwa where I could see the same production company drawing everybody the same way. They use the same kind of CG assets, the same color palettes. You know, there wasn't a lot that distinguished the projects.
Protagonists damn near were identical.
Yeah, and that's not always a bad thing, but just in that case I noticed it. I do think that
I see that a lot in BL manhwas.
Yeah, and I would imagine it's because it's like similar artists and similar studios, or I mean, you tell me what the reach of BL is, but there's probably like 5 or 6 main studios that probably pick up a majority of the stuff. It's not like how in like Shonen Jump it's very like auteurish. You get one guy, a couple production assistants, and a studio to do a series, whereas I'm sure some of these other niche stuff, they've got teams and they kind of just put them on projects.
Actually, I have another recommendation, y'all. Ooh, they're whatchamacallit, the video that I sent you, the day in the life of a mangaka. Y'all should go watch it on YouTube. It's like Paolo in Tokyo. It was very interesting.
Oh yeah, you sent me that video. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was
especially
very
just
cool.
Like you see the living group home. So I'm already worried. I'm just like, but
it was clean. It was
good. No. I was worried, but like when I saw the lifestyle, it was not as like horrifying.
Yeah,
as I thought it would be. Yeah, and they were all winners who were in the house. They're all winners of some development prize for young artists. So I
didn't even know stuff existed like that for mangaka, for like actual like assistants, not just like, oh nigga, go work your other job and hustle.
Yeah. I did want to point out a series that's not out yet, but I saw some art from the web novel, and it seems like they'll be using that style. Little Prince of the Ossuary looks pretty good as like a new series that will be starting.
What is it about?
It's sort of a zombie, but in a fantasy world sort of story. So like an apocalypse of like human eating monsters, but in a fantasy world. And there's a boy who is born in the underworld, I guess you could call it, and it's just following that character's story as they move through that world that is overrun. So it's not. It takes place on Earth, but like a very different form of Earth. It gives me a lot of vibes of Made in Abyss. So I haven't read the web novel, but I did see some art.
I gotta watch that fucking movie.
Bro, you need to steel your heart. Get ready. Get motherfucking ready. I can't. There is the scene. Everyone who's seen the movie or read the manga knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say when it happens in the movie. You will know when it occurs, because you will realize at that moment that nothing you have seen or read prepared you for the emotional damage and the horror of what happened.
Oh, God. Okay.
Anyone who listen, anyone who has read or watched it, you know what I'm talking about.
I thought it was already pretty fucking bad.
Oh, Jesus. It's perhaps the absolute worst. And I read the manga past that part, and there's some fucked up shit that happens later, but I cannot get over that thing. Like, I think about it fairly regularly, and given the world that we live in right now, there are aspects of that event that they don't feel as far-fetched as the fantasy and the science fiction aspect of this series would lead you to believe. But just the heartbreak, the barbarity, the fucking brutality of what's happening. And it's like, it's a thing that breaks your heart like multiple times in a row. 'Cause I don't know what to say it. Like, it's just, it's real, man. It's real. Man. It's still real to me.
Every time I get nervous. Okay.
You just gotta get through it. I didn't know going in. I just started reading Made in Abyss one day because I'm like, I might as well read this shit. Yeah. And, I thought I was a hard man. I'm gonna just say that. I thought I had a hard soul.
I mean, during the final episode, because the final episode was like 45 minutes, right? For the first season. I had to pause. So I had to pause. I was just like, I got to.
There's an argument inside of me that for people who are wary of just watching the movie because they know that it could get bad, I would almost just say, like, you could just go to the bad part. Just have someone tell you, like, what part of the movie doesn't happen. Just fucking watch it. If you watch it without context, it doesn't hurt as much. And then you go watch the rest of the movie back. You're like, okay, I know what this is leading up to, and it won't feel as, like,
crazy,
fucked up forever. You know?
My God.
It won't feel that bad. I almost recommend that. But it's also the story is very good, and the part that is covered in the movie, I think, is probably the most interesting like world building exercise that they had done. A lot of the stuff that comes afterwards strays into the weird and the bizarre, so it's less about like the world building and more about like, let's show you some of the crazy shit that was happening where there is no report. Because you know how Made in Abyss works, right? Like, the people are going down, there's like legends of folks who have gotten past a certain point, but they don't come back. So like everybody you meet is telling you information about parts that folks have been to and how fucked up those things are there. But once you pass that part, that's kind of where the story is at the moment, and it's very weird. But I wouldn't necessarily say it ever hits like the emotional depth of what happens in that movie, which is a good thing, because I don't think I'd be reading it if every fucking arc they hit me with that fucking bullshit. No, I'd be out. I'd be like, listen, you could take your whatever this is, misery porn, and go elsewhere.
That is okay. All right.
Watch it. Everybody go watch it.
If you haven't, I recommend it. It's better than fucking Promised Neverland second season, I'll tell you that much.
Do we gotta talk about that? That didn't happen. No, that was I fell asleep one day and like someone told me about it, but like I don't believe it. It's like, you know, flat earth or like the reptilians, like it's just a myth. It's a conspiracy theory that Promised Neverland season 2 aired.
At this point, it's just like I'm just waiting to like buy the volumes and just read them, because I'm not doing it.
It's good. Promised Neverland is good. The ending
I heard the ending was good. That's why I'm like, I'm just gonna it kind of like there's parts of it that like run out of steam, but like it was a story that had a very clear direction that it was going in, and then it ends great. You know, it's like almost is it 200 chapters, or maybe it's a little less than 200 chapters. Oh, that's not bad.
It's a very reasonably spun out story. Why they did what they did, I would love to, you know, all jokes aside, I would love to see like some retrospective from the author, because he was deeply involved in the rewrite for season 2. Yeah, he was deeply involved in that. Yeah. They just didn't. Goldie Pond, man. Go read. Yeah, let's recommend that too. Go read Promised Neverland for the Goldie Pond arc. Just do that.
I don't know what that is, but I'll find out soon.
Yep, you will, and it's fucking fantastic. And you will ask yourself, why did they not just do that? Because that was awesome. And does everything you needed to do. It had great antagonists. It opened up the world more. It created tons of tension. They did a thing that's very hard to do in series, which is basically dump your original cast for a long period of time and introduce a whole group of new people and have the new people get over just as, you know, as being just as interesting and fun to watch as the old cast. Then bring the old cast back and still have a lot of stuff to do. Like that is a very impressive feat, because most people can't write one good character, let alone 30 of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. Read Promised Neverland. Do not entertain the fantasy that season 2 ever existed. Just pretend like it didn't happen.
All right. Is there anything else?
I think that's it for this week.
Alrighty. Well then, first of all, thank you, Ashbeard Guy, Black Anime Podcast, for doing the shout out for Black History Month. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, and happy Black History Month to everybody, because we definitely are niggas over here.
Absolutely.
And you know, you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, at just regular Anime Savants, and then you can follow us on Twitter, anime_savants. Also, is there anything else coming up soon, news-wise? Not that I'm going to tell you right now, but yeah, stuff. later.
Stuff. Peace out, y'all. Oh, you can hit me on Twitter, right? At Neural Handshake. I had more thought bots keep adding me. I don't like this. Try and get rid of them. Replace them with real people. Oh,
really?
Yeah, it stopped for like a good 4 months, and then they're right back at it. We need another purge, Twitter. You hear me? Just dump them. But yeah, you can hit me up anytime. Other than that, peace out.
Bye.